Whoa, baby. What is he talking about? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. That's right. So the one that was the heir of the world, Avraham Avinu, was told, Lech lecha me'artzecha, get out of your physical realm and clothe it with the spiritual realm. Birth a physical nation that is clothed with Yahweh's glory. Birth yourself, and then when you've birthed yourself, and when you've nivrachu, the spiritual man, the new man, the hidden man of the heart, we call that today the born-again experience. When you've clothed yourself, when you're born again, when you're regenerated, when you have a circumcised heart, and you've experienced Tikun in the earth, then you could take your seed and bring Tikun to the nations. Then you could father many nations. But not before you get out of your earth. Hello? You got to get out of your earth. How do I get out of my earth before my time? Do I commit harikari? No. Do I call the suicide hotline and say, can I make an appointment? They're supposed to save life anyway. No. You invite the truth of Yahweh into your life, and you say, fill this earth. Fill this earth. Thy kingdom come in this earth before it comes on the earth. And when I am restored, meaning the physical realm and the spiritual realm, I can go and restore others and birth nations. Come on. Someone's getting this. Come on. Are we on? Are we going? We're going. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. See, I learned that from my friend. We're going. Yahweh is saying, you got to practice what you preach. You experience tikkun in your heart and mix the spiritual and the physical, that both tov, not one is tov, one is lo tov, ra'ah. Then you can take that tikkun, that restoration, and through your seed, we're talking about seed before, you can mix that physical and spiritual seed in all the earth. Isn't that what we're doing? We're taking the truth of Yeshua and Torah and mixing that seed in all the earth. Come on. Because we have combined the spirit realm and the physical realm. Yes. We believe in the Brit Chadashah and the Torah. Amen. We don't separate the body from the spirit. Amen. They're both necessary to produce to become fathers of nations. Isn't that what Yahweh's called you to do? To father the Israelite nations? Yes. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Even when viewing this commandment in its plain sense, meaning leave your country, leave Ur Chazdim, Ur of the Chaldees, this is a difficult trial. Abraham is called to leave his natural setting for a new path, a spiritual path, and the problem is, in the spirit, he don't know where the heck he's going. That's the problem trying to bring Tikun HaOlm, or the restoration of the spirit realm with the physical realm. You don't know where it's going to lead you. None of you knew you'd be here today. None of you knew you'd be following Torah, kissing the Torah, saying the Aliyah before the Torah, weeping when you see the Torah, understanding Hebraic things, Hebraic roots, living your Hebraic roots. So when Yahweh says, as he did in your life, when Yahweh says, Lech lecha, where am I going? Are we going? Well, I'm not sure. Where are we going? Well, one thing, before you know where you're going, you've got to leave your earth. You've got to leave your country. Your earth. You cannot be restored to Yahweh. You'll remain an enemy of Yahweh until you are willing to bring in harmony the physical and the spiritual. Correct. We bring them in harmony, and that's why Avraham was the father of faith. Shem knew the Torah better than Avraham. He taught it to him. Noach knew the Torah better than Shem. He raised him. It's not about knowledge. Knowledge puffs up. Love edifies. Isn't that true? Yeah. I met a lot of bookworms, and I wouldn't want to be around them for 5 minutes. Get grossed out, man. You don't get restored. You get grossed out. I had an old pastor friend of mine tell me people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That stood with me. They don't care how much you know. So I made it I used to be able to quote entire chapters of the Bible. So I'm not interested in doing that anymore. plus my hip, you know. Hi. You rebuke the hip or me? Huh? The pain. Oh, thank you. As long as you leave me alone. You rebuke that pain, but not me. Leave me alone, please. I got no problems. But the pain you can rebuke, no problem.
Thank you.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Abraham is called to leave his, not just his physical land, but his limitations, exactly what Safanya was saying before. But the only way to leave your physical limitations is to clothe yourself and bring the spiritual in harmony into everything you do. Eating becomes an offering to Yahweh. Sleeping becomes an offering to Yahweh. Worshiping, going on the subway, going on a bus. It's not like, well, I do drugs during the week, but I get clean on Thursday, so I don't feel guilty on Shabbat. You know what's happening? You haven't harmonized the spirit realm because you are what you are at work. That's what you are. You are what you are when nobody sees you, when nobody's around, when nobody's looking at you, when nobody's checking up on you. And that's the inner man, that's the true man, not the man that shows up here on Shabbat with a big smile.
Amen. Hallelujah.
The man or the woman that can check out pornography on the internet but chooses not to, and because they choose not to, they have the blessing and the promotion and the victory from Yahweh. They can. They'd like to. The flesh would, but they clothe themselves with the Ruach. You have not because you ask not. How do I clothe myself? How do I bring Tikun in my life? You ask. And when you ask amiss. You have not because you ask not. If any man lack, what? Chokhmah, let him ask of Yahweh, who upbraideth not, but giveth to all men liberally. You want wisdom? Ask. You want finances? Ask. You want a wife? Call, ask with, ask. What's wrong with you, man? You don't have money to go dating anyway. Or a husband. I'm sure Asquith can cook up a few of those too.
Ready for a tough father-in-law.
That's right. A good tough father-in-law. So Abraham is called to leave his land physically and his earth. The kingdom would come in restoration in his earth, his body, his temple, to make it into a temple of the Ruach HaKodesh. And Yahweh says, then I will take you to a land that I will show you. Hello? Mm-hmm. I will show you. He doesn't know where he's going. Isn't that what Rabbi Yeshua told Nakdimo? The wind blows where it listeth, where it wants. You don't know where it's going. You don't know where it's coming. So is everyone who merges the spirit realm with the physical realm in their life. You never know where this is going to take you. And when you plan your steps, you're not walking in the spirit. For the steps of a righteous man are ordered by Yahweh. You may be in China next year and not know how you're going to get there, but Yahweh will order your steps. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So the journey of Tikun, listen, or the restoration of the man, the individual, is revealed in stages, and it's based on prior faithfulness. I'll say that again. It's revealed in stages, but it's promoted or based on prior faithfulness. Everyone's not serving Yahweh. Yahweh didn't ask you that. Are you? Everyone went back there. Everyone. Did it ever occur to you Yahweh has not called you to be everyone? He's called you to remain faithful so he can give you more land to show you. What land? Land that hasn't been conquered. Individualism. Independence. Self-sufficiency. I don't need the help of the saints. That's not humility. That's pride. No, I don't need anybody to help me. I don't need anybody to pay my light bill. I don't need anybody to... I need all the help I can get. So Yahweh says there's land in our life that has not been restored. There's a part of our psyche, our being, something that hasn't come into harmony with his Ruach. We have the mind of the Ruach, but we don't apply the mind of the Ruach.
That's it.
Amen?
Amen.
So, if you want your earth, thy kingdom come in the earth even as it is in the heavens. If you want Yahweh's Tikun HaOlm in your flesh, you got to be faithful to those areas you know to be faithful in. You understand? And then comes the revelation. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Did you think Yahweh knew did we know everything about this ministry? We didn't know anything about this ministry. The little we knew, we turned over in restoration to Yahweh, and Yahweh said it'll happen. And He progressively revealed all these things to us. Amen? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So the journey of Tikun, or restoration, is revealed in stages, if you're taking notes, based on faithfulness to the calling. Not to a man, not to a worship minister. Faithfulness to the calling. Do you understand? If you are faithful to the calling, and you lech lecha, you'll get out of your earth. He will clothe you and harmonize in your life an area that has previously not been harmonized. That's why Avraham Avinu was the father of faith.
Yes.
He was able to take the spiritual realm and the physical realm and bring it together, harmonize it in his life.
Yes.
Amen. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Go with me, please, to Romia 4. And Rav Shul tells us the same thing. Clothe yourself with Yeshua. Don't believe the separate stuff, your body and your spirit and your soul. What were the Gnostics? What were they guilty of? That sect, the Gnostic sect, in the 1st and 2nd century CE, Romia 4. What were they guilty of? What do the Gnostics teach? Everything in the spirit is beautiful. Everything with the flesh is dirty and nasty. So Yeshua couldn't have come in the flesh. And Yochanan writes, 1st Yochanan is written as a response to the Gnostics, saying that which we have handled, that which we have touched, that which we have seen, the word of life. Because they thought Yeshua couldn't come in the flesh because everything about the flesh was off limits to the spirit world. And that's what the church was birthed on. The Gnostic heresy, and it remains to this day in varying levels. And in order to unearth it, you've got to harmonize it. Is this ever going to change? Not until they harmonize their life. You follow me? Can it change? How did it change for you? You realized that keeping the feasts and other things that you thought were earthly, fleshly, not of the Ruach, it was actually eternal. Correct? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So the early Gnostics, you'll see 1st Yochanan, 2nd Yochanan, 3rd Yochanan, was written to rebuke and say, Yochanan said, look, we've handled the word of life. We've touched the word of life. What do you mean everything in the flesh is evil? Right? The mouth is not evil. But the mouth has to be harmonized with the Ruach, so the Ruach speaks His words through you and not your own words. Amen. But the boka is not dirty. It's the way you choose to use the boka. Amen. And if you use the boka too much in the wrong way, you wind up in Boca Raton. But you don't wind up in a condo, you wind up in the streets of Boca. Because you haven't learned to harmonize your boka with His words, His thoughts. For my ways are not your ways, saith Yahweh, and my thoughts are not your thoughts. Even as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my thoughts higher than your thoughts, and my ways higher than your ways. Amen. Yahweh 55. Amen? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So is there anything wrong with the mouth? Yahweh said to Moshe, who has made man's mouth? That filthy vessel, that filthy mouth of yours that you use not only to cuss and take drugs, but to criticize Yahweh's anointed, touching His anointed, and doing His prophets harm. Wicked servants. Wicked servants. Yeah, I'm talking about myself. I wouldn't want to be you, criticizing me. I wouldn't want to be you. And like Asquith says, and like he said at the conference, when I make the wrong, tell me if I'm quoting you correctly, when I make the wrong decision, it still stands. Isn't that what you said? Because Yahweh honors divine authority, government, divine government. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Romia 4:1. Romia 4:1. What shall we say then about Avraham, our Abba, the first to bring Tikun HaOlm? Romia, Romans 4:1. What shall we say about Avraham? Again, Tikun HaOlm, studying Avraham. What shall we say about Avraham? I'm going to go quickly. Who lived in the flesh. You got that? Let thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Everything. It's not just Lashon Hara. It's Lashon Oznayim, an evil ear. What do you listen to? What do we listen to? It's not just an evil tongue. It's an evil lending our ear to something. You're not a friend of a person when you're listening to them rip apart somebody else, and who is your brother or sister in Yeshua. Okay, look at this. Abraham lived in the flesh. Correct? Before Elohim called him to harmonize the spirit world with the physical world. You want to be like Abraham? Learn to harmonize things. Don't learn to say the mouth is no good, the intimacy is no good, food is no good, indulgence is no good. All these things can be brought under the control of the Ruach HaKodesh. And when you bring it under the control of the Ruach HaKodesh, you are like your father Abraham. You've harmonized through Yahweh's power, not by might, not by power, but by my Ruach, says Yahweh. You've harmonized another area of your life. Make sense? That's how you grow. What does it mean to grow in Yeshua? Does it mean you go to did you go to a farmer's market or a county fair and you go to the helium pump and fill yourself up? Ooh, I grew in Yeshua. What do you mean to grow in Yeshua? That's a nice colloquialism. What does it mean to grow? For most of religion, it means you're more judgmental and more slandering and more hate-filled than you used to be.
Yeah.
And you have less room for tolerance. That's what it means to grow in the Lord. I know more, so I'll be less tolerant. No. Well, to grow in Yeshua means you are harmonizing, not divesting yourself of what Yahweh made. For it says in Tehillim 139, David said, I am perfectly and wonderfully made. Hello? Make sense? I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Meaning, what part of the body is evil? Nothing. It's what we do with it. We leave it unredeemed. Meaning that we will let your kingdom come to our diet, but we won't let it come to our mouth. We'll let your kingdom come to our ears, but we won't let it come to our feet. We still go places we shouldn't go. Okay? Nightclubs are not okay for the child of Yahweh. Bingo parlors are not okay for the child of Yahweh. Playing numbers, it's not okay for the child of Yahweh. Play numbers, you don't believe in luck as a child of Yahweh, you shouldn't believe in luck. But trust me, you keep disobeying Yahweh and you don't harmonize the spirit realm with certain things in the physical, you'll be believing in luck real soon because you're going to need a whole bunch of it. You can't play games with Yahweh. That's what it means to Tikun HaOlm. How could we restore the two houses when our lives are not restored? We don't need help. Counseling? Oh, counseling is for the heathen. Really? Really? Yeshua said he's the wonderful counselor. Yeshua said he's the great shepherd, and we must be under shepherds. Meaning counseling must be for his children. We don't need counseling. We just need the King James Bible. Come on. So how are we going to redeem other areas of our life? I'm weak. I'm very weak. I need all the help I can get. And regardless of who it comes from. Amen? As long as they are redeeming their time. That's what it means to redeem your time. You ever read that in Ephesians? Redeem the time for the days are evil. Be not drunk with wine, but be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. Hello? What does it mean to be? How do you redeem your time? Be filled with the Ruach. What does that mean? That's real nice churchy. Oh, I thought I was already filled when I got saved. It means allow Yahweh to harmonize your parts in your life that haven't been harmonized. So Abraham was the father, he was the first to catch the truth of harmonizing the spirit realm, not just on Yom Shabbat, but on Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi. I don't curse at work. I don't do things at work that I wouldn't do in the assembly of Yahweh.
Amen.
I'm talking to somebody. For if Abraham were justified, in verse 2, by mitzvot only, he has something to boast about, but not before Yahweh. For what says the Ketuvim? Abraham believed Yahweh and was counted to him for tzedakah. Now to him who performs mitzvot is the reward not given as unmerited favor, but as a debt. But to him that works not, but believes on him that makes tzaddik, the righteous, his emunah is discounted as righteousness. Amen?
Amen.
Now, even as David described the blessed status of the man to whom Yahweh would not impute tzedakah without mitzvot. Now we'll get somewhere here. Saying, blessed are they whose Torahlessness is forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man whom Yahweh will not impute sin. Does this blessedness come upon the Brit Milah only, or upon the uncircumcised, or the akrabustia, the tossed away foreskins? We say Emunah was imputed to Avraham as tzedakah. Okay, how was it imputed? When he was in Brit Milah or in akrabustia? Not in Brit Milah, but in akrabustia. And we go on, and we cannot read the whole thing here. But Abraham's calling was that, like that of Moshiach, to bring Tikun to the nations of both the spiritual and the physical circumcision. That's why I wanted to read that. That entire chapter talks about harmonizing spiritual and physical Brit Milah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's the whole point in that chapter. Okay? Meaning, did Abraham receive Brit Milah, circumcision, while he was faithful or while he was an unbeliever? He received circumcision much later. Look at verse 11. He received the sign of Brit Milah as a seal of the tzedakah of his emunah while he was yet akrabustia, meaning uncircumcised, that he might be the father, the Abba, of all that believe, that though they may not be circumcised, that tzedakah might be imputed to them also. Are we on? The Abba of the Brit Milah to those who are not of Brit Milah only, but also who have their halakha in the steps of emunah of our father Avraham. Okay, and I can't go into this whole thing. You read it on your own. Would you do that? Verses 1 through 25? Read it on your own. Okay? So that believers like Avraham are works in progress. First, he came to the realization that he had to change. Correct?
Yeah.
He came to the realization there were things in his life that had to change. When he allowed the Ruach and faith in Yahweh to change him, eventually what happened? He received the sign of Brit Milah, circumcision. First, he let Yahweh change him. First, you deal with the spirit man, and then things will change in the physical.
Amen.
Amen? So, being, or the blessing of Avraham, what was the blessing of Avraham? That he would mix the nations. He would fill the nations with his seed. How was he going to do that? By being restored first, physically and spiritually, and then he could teach the nations and father all those who would be restored physically and spiritually. But we got to do it like he did. Amen? We have to be willing to harmonize the physical with the spiritual. So in other words, brothers and sisters, we cannot even be Israel. We cannot even be Israel without being like Avraham. What did Avraham do? He reconciled himself before Yahweh allowed nations to come from him and be reconciled. Do you understand? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. After entering the land, what was the first thing? Lech lecha. Get out of your flesh. Get out of your way of doing things. After entering the land, or acting in the natural, Yahweh appears to him in the Ruach, in Bereshit. Go down back to Bereshit 12. So, but the whole point of Romia 4 is to show what came first. The spirit or the Ruach? The spirit. And the physical was a manifestation of being in harmony in the spirit realm with Yahweh. Make sense?
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. A study of Abraham. Bereshit 12. Now jump down to verse 7. Amen. Verse number 7.